Well, that violent crime has left so many families reeling, and while some arrests have been made, giving families some closure, others are left in the dark. Well, that is the case for the family of Brian, Bradley, and Brandon Veal. An unbelievable story we told you about in Eyewitness News 1 year ago. 3 brothers murdered within 7 days of each other. Now, from the time of their murders in February of last year until today, the Metropolitan Crime Commission recorded nearly 300 more homicides, leaving the Veal brothers' father to wonder if he'll ever get justice in his son's brutal murders. Here's my special report, In the Dark, a family search for answers. Small yet priceless moments.
We really got a baby now, man. We got a baby.
3 generations together.
This your big daddy. You're gonna know who this is, man, regardless. You're gonna know who this is. You have to.
I see you, boy.
This who you gonna rely on if something ever happened to me, man.
Oh, wow.
We cry out to you right now, Lord. We ask that you would be with us in this service, Lord, that you would strengthen this family, Lord, my family, that you'll hold us up, Lord.
It was just such a senseless ambush.
They loved their family, and their family loved them dearly.
I've saw reports of people losing multiple children in their lives, but 3 in 1 week, you know, man, it's insane.
They were each other's best friends.
We would not give up, we would not stop.
All these murders, it's every night.
A barrage of bullets.
There's been a lot of violence in the city of New Orleans.
Kids are supposed to bury the parents. You're not supposed to bury your kids.
It could be any family standing here together in our position.
My whole life has changed.
Okay, I got one. What do you call a deer with no eyes?
I don't know what you call a deer with no eyes.
I have no idea.
Silly kids. They were very silly.
Yeah.
They were a bunch of comedians. Yeah, they were just silly kids.
More than 1 year after losing Brandon, Brian, and Bradley Veal in 1 week, their family is still in the dark, both literally and figuratively. We're sitting here and we have you all in silhouettes because are you still living in some sort of fear? Or are you still kind of feeling like that you're in danger because this case hasn't been solved?
Definitely, definitely. To know that whoever the perpetrators are still walking around doing whatever, and we have no idea who they could be or who they are.
And while you haven't seen their faces, they've made sure their thoughts and voices are heard and seen. One of those voices is that of the boy's father, whose name we won't share.
Every day is just a painful moment, so anybody experiencing, you know, death like that and then it being unsolved is a super unfairness.
I was with my brother and we were out of town hanging out. We parted ways and my brother was driving home and I got a call. And he was very upset and he began to tell me what had just transpired with Brian.
Brian Veal was shot and killed February 13th at Loyola and Washington in Central City.
I actually got a call from my son because his brothers was on scene.
Brian Veal, the middle child, was murdered on the corner of Washington and Loyola on February 13th of 2021. As their family says they always are, the brothers were together. Brandon wasn't hurt, but Bradley, the youngest brother, was hit twice.
He called me from jail.
They detained him?
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, they said that was the only way that they could contain them and get control of the scene.
It should be a normal thing to have hysterical brothers seeing their brother get murdered on the street.
We asked New Orleans police why the brothers, one who was suffering from 2 gunshot wounds, were allegedly detained. We did receive a response in time for this report, but we did request the incident report. And on it, no mention of the brothers being detained or why. So you're learning that your son, nephew, was murdered.
Right.
And your other 2 sons are in jail. So
Right.
Those are 2 things that hit you at one time.
Right. They were walking down the street and they told me that the guys just picked on them. They noticed a car following them and they finally pulled up on them and then they started shooting out of the car. That's what he told me. And when I talked with the detectives, that's the same thing. They said they had surveillance of the car pulling up and just shooting at them.
The surveillance video is likely from a camera close to the corner of Washington and Loyola, where an NOPD crime camera is placed. Was that surveillance ever revealed?
Not to me, I haven't seen nothing.
This family joined the ranks of so many families across New Orleans, devastated and confused. A bond between the Veal brothers broken, with Brian's life ripped from them in front of their very eyes. But Brian's murder was only the beginning of what would turn into a heartbreaking week for the family. You lose one of your sons, and a week later, can you kind of take us back to that particular day?
Earlier that day, my brother had gone up there to talk to his other two sons and the mother about getting everything finalized to bury Brian.
And I had just sent them some money for them to eat that afternoon. My last words that I heard from them was, "We love you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. We love you, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry."
Their father says the two brothers walked to the bank after speaking with their dad and later to a local McDonald's to get food.
And on their way back home to feed their mom and themselves, they were murdered. They were ambushed.
The father tells me detectives say a camera was also at the scene of that murder. Still, it wasn't captured.
If it had happened a couple of seconds sooner, they could have gotten it off of the street camera. And I'm like, are you serious? These cameras don't work like they're supposed to every second?
These boys were gentle giants.
I just want to debunk the whole idea about, African-American men not taking care of their kids, and those boys were loved. They were not street kids. They were not castaways. They were not in that realm.
And it's just like every other murder in the city, you think that they did somebody wrong. That's why they were murdered. And that's the perception that people have, when that's not the case here.
And you're looking at 3 unarmed black men. If they were into something,
right,
especially if my brother was gunned down one week and I'm coming out, I'm not coming out without being armed. If I'm into anything, these kids were unarmed.
How do I say goodbye to what we had?
A funeral for one within a week turned into a funeral for 3. One that wasn't highly publicized out of fear.
We were very limited who we invited. I hired Jefferson Parish just to make sure that we didn't have any kind of incidents there. We sit here with you today knowing exactly what we knew back then. Nothing.
It's so hard to say goodbye.
And it isn't for a lack of trying. Email correspondence between the brothers' aunt and almost every level of city government show they've been in constant contact for a year straight.
New Orleans police hope the donated billboard will be a visual reminder leading to new information.
There were even billboards and bus stop signs purchased by the family with help from anonymous donors.
Calls in, but they said nothing really led to anything substantial. One
email between the aunt and NOPD detectives indicates the suspect's vehicle was found.
They tried to burn the vehicle, but they didn't. But they weren't truly successful. They were able to retrieve it before everything was burnt out, and so they sent it to get it swabbed for DNA and everything.
With the dwindling police force and still in the dark more than a year later, the family says they've lost hope. Not in their fight to find answers, but in the very police department they're relying on for help to bring the Veal brothers' murderers to justice.
I just think they're swamped. I just think they're smothered.
Do you feel like them being understaffed and not taking the extra steps to bring extra help in is now at the expense of everyone in the community?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Admit you have a problem. If you have an issue, deal with it the right way and call in for help.
Our elected officials need to step up and take control of our city. We know nothing and we just want answers. They deserve that.
So it is in this time, Lord, that we reach out to you, Lord, that we lift our eyes into the hills. from which cometh our help.
Brandon, Brian, and Bradley's father recorded another video, one that he hopes to show one day to Brandon's son, capturing a moment their family may never forget, remembering 3 lives lost, one of those being his father's.
Oh, wow. All right, little man.
As his young life was just beginning. Well, the NOPD did get back to us with a few of those questions that we had about their investigation of this case. They confirmed that Brandon and Bradley were arrested after the shooting of their brother and booked with battery on a police officer, but they didn't go into detail about exactly what happened that evening. They also confirmed the vehicle used in the shooting of Brian Veal was found, and the suspects did attempt to set it on fire. DNA evidence was gathered and processed, but police say they still have no matches. A Crime Stoppers reward of $10,000 is still available, so if you have any information that can help police, you can give them a call at 504-822-1111.